Hello and greetings from SynthFX. While we regret we're not able to stage an event on campus in person, we acknowledge that this occasion is a very special one for us all to celebrate. You'll notice that I'm here in a chemistry laboratory at SynthFX, in the Physical Sciences Complex. My background is in chemistry and it's wonderful to be back in the lab, which is one of the reasons why I'm so excited to share our news with you today. SynthFX is pleased to announce that Agnico Eagle, a company that has long been a friend to SynthFX and indeed to the many communities in which its mines are situated, is donating $5 million to our university, an extraordinary gift in these austere times. This video will show you the impact this gift will have in several key areas: the academic mission, student bursaries, and our recreational facility that is widely used by our students, faculty, staff, and the broader Antigonish communities. Today I'm delighted to announce that Agnico Eagle's gift to SynthFX is in honor of Jim Nasso, who is a proud graduate of SynthFX from the class of 1959. Mr. Nasso has for decades supported SynthFX students financially and with jobs and with mentorship. Jim and his wife Jackie have even opened their home to students in need of a safe place to live. The son of an Italian immigrant parents, Jim has spent his life and his career extending generosity to those in need. And so, the building I'm sitting in now will be renamed the Nasso Family Science Center in recognition of Jim's extraordinary contributions to not only SynthFX, but also many, many other important courses. We cannot thank Agnico Eagle enough, especially Sean Boyd, CEO, and the members of their board. Thanks to their support, we were able to leverage a further $3 million in matching funds from another alumni family, allowing us to push several critical projects over the finish line. This is truly a gift for all at SynthFX. On behalf of all of us here in Antigonish, I offer my sincere thanks to Agnico Eagle and to Jim Nasso. We hope you'll enjoy learning a bit more about this gift and about the Nasso family.
Agnico has been a friend of the university for a number of years, specifically supporting the purchase of much needed lab equipment within our Faculty of Science. I've had the pleasure of knowing Jim Nasso for many years. He's devoted his career to combining goodness with growth and education with ambition. The Nasso name emblazoned on our campus will long serve as a reminder of a man devoted to equity. Part of Agnico Eagle's gift will be immediately directed to the Faculty of Science for some near-term equipment needs. A further portion will reside in the university's endowment fund, creating annual returns that can be used to meet future academic needs or fund projects and opportunities that currently don't exist. The gift from Agnico Eagle will allow faculty members in the sciences to dream a bit bigger, thinking of what could be. Although Jim Nasso has quietly supported students for decades, often calling up the business office and paying tuition of struggling students, he and his family more recently established the Vincent Nasso Bursary Fund in honor of Jim and Jackie's son. Some of Agnico Eagle's funds will be added to this bursary, which provides considerable financial support to African, Canadian, and Indigenous students, including Inuit students. Finally, Agnico Eagle's support helps push us over the finish line as we move to complete the renovation of the Saputo Center for Healthy Living. In keeping with Agnico Eagle's determination to promote health and well-being in rural communities, the newly revamped Saputo Center will dramatically increase access to recreational opportunities for members of the SynthFX and broader Antigonish community.
It is rare to see an individual in a position like a chairman of the board for over 30 years in a corporate world. And again, that's a testament to the individual that we're dealing with and talking about today. And the culture of any organization starts from the top. And I believe that Jim has been able to shape that. And he's worked very closely with the founder of the company, Paul Penna over the years. And from all the testimony that I've heard about Paul is that he's a very, very generous person. And I believe that his generosity has helped shape the culture of Agnico Eagle to what it is today. And Jim's legacy was to continue that. And it just goes, again, you know, any organization, it starts from the top. And I've been in different boards. It's not always healthy. And, you know, going and joining Agnico, it's the team spirit, working together, positive, and building or developing your people. Your most important resource are your people. How do we bring our employees up the ladder and develop them and develop their skills? That is the culture. And to do the right thing, to do good, to, you know, increase opportunities at the community level, whether that be improving the lives of communities, creating jobs. Like I see Baker Lake as an example, had the highest unemployment rates in Nunavut, about 60% prior to the mine opening. And today you're looking at about 10 to 15% unemployment rate in that community. And that happens when a company goes in and works with the community to create those opportunities, the spin-offs from an industry, and how do we build capacity, and that is to train people. So those kind of examples, I think, are what makes a person succeed in any organization. It's the relationship building. We build relationships with the community, individuals, whatnot. But I think the culture of Agnico trickles down to the community level, but it also starts from the leadership, from the top to what kind of company do we want to operate, what do we want to be known for. And I think, you know, with Agnico and through Jim's leadership, we've been able to see many positive contributions to the community, not just in the mining operations, but the other activities and contributions the company has made over the years.
Over the last 30 years, under the leadership of both Sean Boyd and Jim Nasso, Agnico Eagle has grown to be one of Canada's largest gold mining companies, with multiple sites across Canada and around the world. As CEO, Mr. Boyd was recognized in 2020 by the Globe and Mail as its Global Visionary of the Year. And Agnico Eagle prides itself on its social consciousness and its devotion to education, equity, and the environment.
We sort of think about Agnico as quietly awesome. We just sort of do our business in a very quiet way, but we look to do good. So Jim's got the awesome part, but he doesn't have the quiet part. And I think that's what makes things fun. You know, Jim and his gang at the bakery, they refer to them as NBF, nothing but fun. So they're constantly getting together, and they just look at life from the perspective is, you know, we're here to have fun, but we're here to do good. And I think Jim just does that to the max. And so, you know, the question around, you know, what is life like with Jim? Well, it's got that extra jump. Everybody's got that extra jump in their step when Jim's around, because it's just super exciting. Everything's magnified. And the goodness, he's always looking to do good. And I think that's the connection here, because, you know, Agnico looks at itself as quietly awesome. We know the goodness that comes out of Saint of X, and that's one of the connections here. So when we look at it from a corporate perspective, we look at, you know, what is the connection? And Saint of X and Agnico connected in terms of our mission statement and trying to do good for our stakeholders. And then, as we've said, also connected to our business from the science perspective, from giving others that may not be in a fortunate situation that helping hand. And from the board's perspective, which Jim leads, we're making decisions on how we invest our shareholders' money all the time. And that can get down to a numbers exercise, but Jim's always great at reminding us, you know, look what we've just done. You know, we've just decided to make an investment, but this community now is going to be the tremendous beneficiaries of the decisions that this business has just made. And that's the magic of it. So That's why it's special to have Jim around, because he's always focused on, how do we do good? How do we make a difference? Whether it's individually from a personal level, or whether it's on a much larger scale in the communities we operate in, or most recently when Agnico decided back in 2007 to get involved in Nunavut. We just found that a fabulous place from many angles. And it wasn't just the geological potential or the ability to do business. It was the fact that from day one we were welcomed by the people of Nunavut, and we weren't looked at as odd or strange because we were from the south or we were miners. We were just looked at as potential partners on how we were going to do business together. And Jim was a key part of making that connection and developing those partnerships, to the point where Agnico's seen as a valuable partner and a partner that's welcomed in Nunavut. And if we can sort of give back in a small way to the residents of Nunavut through investment there, but also through investments in St. FX, because as we've said, part of the reason to do this is to help those that don't have an opportunity to attend university. And particularly in Nunavut, if you think about it, there's no university there. And Jim's been a big proponent of trying to get one established. There's not one there. So, St. FX, we think, is a perfect place to be the home for Inuit students that decide that they want a university education. And Jim's a big proponent of that. So it's the excitement level Jim brings to the table all the time. And that's why we love having him around. And we're just honored to be in a position to make a contribution to St. FX that we know is going to have a meaningful impact on the community. It's going to have a meaningful impact on those that may not have the opportunity to attend university, but are given that opportunity because of Jim and his family's work and Agnico's contribution to that. But also it has some connections to our particular business, which is science, mining science. There's a tremendous program there, so Agnico's happy to sponsor that. So all of this really works well. We're super excited. And getting back to Jim and this sort of quietly awesome part, Jim can't say he's quiet. And as we've said, we've never, ever in all these years seen him speechless, except for the evening when we announced the contribution we were making to St. FX and the fact that an important building on the campus was going to be named after the Nasso family. Jim was speechless, which made it priceless for all of us. There were tears in that room. Everybody was emotional about it because, Jim was thankful, but he also saw the significance because St. FX has been such a big part of his life, and to sort of close that circle and close that loop and have Jim and his family be a part of something that's going to contribute to the future well-being of students and the community of Antigonish. That resonated very deeply with Jim and his family.
Although Jim is known for his gregariousness and warmth, he has flown under the radar as an alumnus of the university, preferring to quietly support students from the wings. In addition to his mentorship of students and the Vincent Nasso Bursary Fund, though, Jim made a further contribution to the university when he acted as the deputy chair of the Zavarian Spirit fundraising campaign between 1988 and 1992, which raised more than $21 million for St. FX.
I really believe the concept of togetherness is powerful. And the steps are you get people together, they form a team, and that team may or may not develop a chemistry. And that chemistry, you can't taste it, smell it, you can't see it, but that's the chemistry that the eights win the gold with. That chemistry, it creates a spirit, a togetherness that really works. And that's what we have in our company at that Agnico Eagle. Our most valuable asset is our culture, which was put down by our founder, who was an Orthodox Jew, an observing, rest his soul. He was an observer, and he practiced his faith. And he was so generous, we had to institutionalize his generosity. And from that, Sean Boyd enhanced and nourished, and together we developed a beautiful chemistry. We call it The culture of the heart, cultura del corazón, is the culture of the heart. And if we ever lose that, and now we have, with this merger, 23,000 employees in 4 countries, over 12 mines with a market cap of 31 billion. If we lose that culture, then we're like all the rest, and we'll begin to fail. That's how important it is. So togetherness is really a powerful, powerful concept. And hopefully, and I think you have it at the university, St. FX has been where it is and where it will continue to be because of its spirit. And that's really important.
A significant portion of the gift from Agnico Eagle will be directed to the Faculty of Science to support researchers like Dr. David Risk, Altus Group Chair in Emissions and Professor of Earth Sciences.
In terms of the possibilities that funding offers to equipment resources around our department, I think that in particular we have a few pieces of equipment that have been idle for a while that students have been looking for, that graduates have been wanting to come back and use as well. And so I see the possibilities to upgrade those and refresh them and bring them back into service. And then I also see that we have like new areas that we're exploring in geoscience all the time now, and those involve big computing, they involve different types of analytical infrastructure, and certainly the ability to build our labs with the equipment that students would be able to use in the field and as working as professionals. That would really be fantastic, because the pace of technological development has really outstripped the ability of a university environment to basically put that stuff in the labs and classrooms.
The class of 1959 was particularly close and has produced one prime minister and countless other leaders. Those enduring friendships have now lasted more than 60 years, and members of the class of 59 are eagerly anticipating their next reunion.
When you hear the name of Jimmy Nasso, you smile, because he's such a cheerful, energetic, engaging, exuberant, happy-go-lucky fella. Anytime Jimmy puts out his hand to greet you, it's a welcoming hand. And he's always got a story. And so you smile and you laugh and you feel good. And that's the way it was with all of us down at St. FX when we first met Jim. And it has continued during all those years that we met Jim. The joyfulness of him, the cheerfulness of him, the positive of him.
I remember him as being on the quiet side. You know, he wasn't, if there was a group of people, he wasn't the most boisterous person in the group, but there was always this twinkle and this smile, right? And as we got to know him and he feel more comfortable, there was always some humorous comment that would break us all up. So I remember him as being this friendly person, right? Who, was very smart, extremely smart, savvy, I would call it, in his quiet and kind of and very humorous way on the quiet side. So then over the years, we've had many, many wonderful alumni gatherings, the class of 59. And as you probably pieced together by now, this is a class that's very much together, as far scattered around the continent as we may have been over these decades. I would say throughout all that period of time, his allegiance to St. FX, almost a devotion to St. FX, was evident from his quiet way. I was always aware of that. And so this fact that he and his company would make a significant endowment does not surprise me, nor does it surprise me that to find that Jim doesn't want a whole lot of publicity, but that we're all determined that he gets as much as we can emblazon on a building for him.
He was very proud of his Italian heritage, and he always had a little money. I mean, he worked in the summer he ran a paving machine, one of these huge paving machines. I think it was his brother's company, but it was, to run one of those things at that age. And we were just college kids. It was something, so he always had a little extra money. I can remember St. FX, I was dirt poor, but so he introduced pizza to the wagon wheel. and he actually taught Buddy Sweet how to make pizza. And pizza back in those days, except for the Americans who were on campus, they knew maybe some of the people in Ontario. I had never heard of pizza myself, never. And I went to high school in Ontario. That's where I went to high school before I came to Santa Fe. And I never heard of a pizza. So he took me to Buddy Sweet's a couple of times for pizza dinners and spaghetti dinners. So he was a very generous guy.
Agnico Eagle is also contributing to the Vincent Nasso Bursary Fund, which supports Black, Indigenous, and Inuit students. Thanks to the generosity of the Janine DeVoe Educational Equity Endowment, Agnico Eagle's gift will be matched 100%, doubling its impact on students like Selena Landry, who's currently completing her second degree at St. FX.
Growing up, my mom was a single parent. She raised 2 kids at the age of 20. She wasn't able to help me financially come to university, so knowing that it's less of a burden on me in the future and less money I have to pay back to the government, less loans I have to take out, it just helps her knowing that I'll be financially stable at some point. In general, with school, like, it's a huge privilege for me to be able to come to school. I'm the first of my family to come to university. So that in itself, just being able to have that opportunity, I know that I should use it to my advantage to be able to help other people, just because I was helped so much growing up.
Stemming from a close friendship between Jim Nasso and basketball coach Steve Konchalski, Jim served as a mentor for a generation of young men on the team, relationships that persist to this day.
Coach K would send guys to me, over the years, and I'd hire them. And 2 of the beauties were Marco and Merritt Palmer, and they got to be friends. One was an immigrant from Yugoslavia, and Marco was part of our family. And, that's a neat story. This is worth telling. I was convalescing 20 years ago or more, my first time at home, and I was in the house for a while. So my wife and I went out. We had a little dog called Oliver. So I'm going around the block, and it's July, and there's nobody in the street. And I see this guy coming towards me like he's 6'7", 6'8", with a basketball. So I stop and kid him. I said, "Oh, can you hear me?" He said, he looks down, and he starts to speak. I said, "What do you eat?" Resume, no. I said, "Capisci italiano?" And then he left. A year goes by. Coach K calls me, and he says, as he usually did, and I'd hire these kids, he said, "Jim, I got this kid named Marco. Is it okay if I give you your number to call you?" I said, "Yeah, sure." So Marco calls me, and here's the conversation. "Hello, Mr. Nasso. This is Marco. Hi, Marco, how you doing?" He said, "I'm pretty good." And I said, "Where are you?" Highway 48 and Shepherd. I said, "Good, I'll come and get you." I said to him, "Do you know Scarborough?" And honest to God, simultaneously this is what happened. He said, "Yeah." I said, "How do you know Scarborough?" He said, "I live behind Stephen Leacock High School." I said, "I know you. You're the guy with the basketball." And he says, "And you're the guy with the dog." So now he comes and we meet. And he works with us. He has a girlfriend and he's living at their house. They broke up, and that day he was crying. Here's Marco with 6'7", 6'8", against 18 years old, crying. I said, "Marco, let's go get your stuff. You'll come home with me." So I brought him home, and he lived with us. And we've been friends ever since. When I get on the phone with him, we laugh for whatever the time is. It could be half an hour. He is so funny, and he's been part of our family for 25, 20 years. And I hear from Merrick as well. He calls me every now and again, and we talk. And these kids, I would pick them up at the airport when they came home, and I'd drop up Merrick off in Scarborough, and then Marco would come with us, and that's what we did. There were friendships we made, and there were other basketball. Alex Stevens, he worked with us, and Alex is just I love the kid. I understand he's doing well somewhere out there, and we spent a lot of time together. When his mother died, I was with him, and she was a young woman from England. And but anyway, these are guys that I don't know, I just hung out with them, and they're friends of mine. You know, they're just friends.
I look at him and I say, I want to be like him. I want to be like he is my role model. He's my role model. I mean, huge shoes to fill, of course. And I would joke with him and I'd say, Jimmy, if I could be 10% of a man you are, that's a very successful individual. But I think, you know, I would joke once in a while. I'd say, this is my Uncle Jim, but really, if you ask me, he's been my mentor. He's been my role model. You know, and not just to me. I mean, you know, you have a bunch of us on the basketball team, never mind just me, but you know, it's just really sets a standard. You know, it's really you know, incredible to see his interaction with complete strangers and how he treats them. And you learn over the years. You see how it is, and you start following that example, really. So yeah, I would simply say that, you know, they're my family, and Jim's my role model, really.
He's been so pivotal in my life that I can honestly say that he is like a father to me. And if I could picture, you know, if I could create a father, this is what the qualities I would want that father to have is, you know, Mr. Nasso's characteristics. It was just, he just opened up his home to me, his you know, his wallet to me, you know, it was, you know, everything. It was just, he was just, the experience from 1992 till 2022 has just been amazing. I can still call him right now and talk for an hour. He's just that guy. He will always pick up the phone. The fact that St. FX is now formalizing his excellence, it's amazing. And I'm so glad to be just a small, teeny little blip on his, you know, in the scale of the grand, you know, the grand scheme of things. I'm just honored to even be, you know, mentioned alongside his name, because he's just a great human.
He made time to instill a number of values that I still hold dear today. And one of his main things that he would always share is that no matter what you do or who you encounter, always do it in love and show love to those around you. And he talked about some of the opportunities that he had through the gold mine, the mining company, and how they wanted to share love to wherever the communities were that they went. And secondly, he always told me, in everything, be generous. Always be generous with what you have, no matter how little or how great, be generous. And he exemplified generosity throughout our relationship, and helped me a lot through school, and, you know, through tough times. He was always there to lend an ear and to help any way that he could.
The Amelia Saputo Center for Healthy Living is the heart of the Antigonish and St. FX communities, and the support of Agnico Eagle lets us leverage matching funds from an alumni family, finally allowing us to finish a multi-year renovation project that will transform the building into an accessible facility for all.
I think that's huge for the community, because you have all ages, all abilities, and we're in a rural community, and we got to keep that in mind, because this is their recreation facility. This is where they come to be active. This is where they come to be engaged in physical activity and to address their overall health and wellness. I'll use the pool as an example. It's the only pool in this rural community. And so individuals seek this place for rehabilitation. So as we age, more people are having strokes. So in a rural community, where do they go? The research says for them to use aquatics, to go in the pool. So this is a space where they need to be able to have access to that. And that's not just for the aging population, it's for individuals with disabilities. This is where they come to, the community plays hockey. That's why we have sledge hockey. They come here and they use this facility. For them, it's very important. They feel like this facility is a place for them. And they need to be able to feel welcomed here. They need to be able to use the facility. And when we look at accessibility, it's not just access, it's designing for everybody, and that's more universal design. So looking at something that may affect someone with a physical disability, say a sledge hockey player, for example, they may come here and use the facility, but a mom in a stroller may benefit just as well. Individuals as they age are going to need more accessible routes, how to get access to the facility, how to use such things as the washrooms, which is a very important thing. And we really wanted to look at the perspectives of the community. And through research, they took the time to give us that information. And they gave us that information in hopes that we would account for their needs. And I think the university going forward, it's important to address the needs of the community, and the health and wellness is a great start.
Well, you know, I got involved in a campaign before Bones got the next campaign, and I was involved with fundraising. And at that time, I had business. I was doing pretty good, so we contributed some money. We got involved at that time with the university, and you saw different numbers like 10% of the people give 90% of the money, those kind of things. We had consultants come in and help us. And you know, it had such basic, honest roots, you know, a university at that time, founded by fishermen, miners, and farmers. This endured all this time, spread all those universal values. And I don't know, I don't really know why, but you just want to be part of it, I guess. You know, and it just continued in the sense that they always stayed in touch. You know, they stayed in touch, and that was important. And I had, you know, I was able to do some of this stuff back then and more lately because of the blessings that I've received. So it's incumbent on us, you know, to do that stuff. It really is, I think, and that's what societies are about. And not everybody does it. Few people do it, and it's important that those people do it and do it with some effect and some result. Life is about results, and you want to see a result. You just don't want to give for the sake of giving, but you want to see some. And you know, it doesn't take a lot of money. Sometimes you come across something in your community where $1,000 to a group means a heck of a lot, or 5,000, not $1 million or 10 million. There's nothing wrong with the United Way. You might give them money, but you'll never see what it does. But in some cases, in your community where you live, you give whatever it is. It doesn't necessarily have to be a large sum, but it's a very effective one, and it gets a result. I think it's important.
Thanks again for joining us. We hope you've enjoyed hearing about Agnico Eagle, the Nasso family, and the impact their support will have on St. FX. As a community, we are inspired by Mr. Nasso and his life of generosity, and by the work undertaken by Agnico Eagle. I loved hearing about their culture of the heart, and feel so lucky that the culture has led to this wonderful relationship. It is our collective hope that our current and future students see themselves in the Jim Nassos of the world, whose lives are lived not for themselves, but in service of others. Our thanks for joining us for this special announcement.